Good evening, everybody. We're going to have a great session tonight about the holistic entrepreneur. I think it's an area that has really sort of expanded over the last few years in relation to what actually does that term mean to begin with. I mean, we know what an entrepreneur is, so to speak. Obviously, somebody that sort of ventures off into their own business and so forth, but past sort of references to being an entrepreneur has a lot of references in relation to, a lot of hard work, a lot of pressure, sort of the negation of other aspects and areas of life, especially things like, maybe family, friends, and so forth, because there's so much time, effort, and energy that has to be put into running a business. So, what we want to challenge tonight as well is looking at those particular areas where what we deem as being success. And I certainly know I've come from the era, and I'm sure you some, on the call here can sort of testify to the fact that success has always been sort of put in this sort of umbrella of if you've made money, or you have a nice house, or you have a nice home, that is deemed as success. And I definitely see that there's a paradigm shift in that term, and I certainly do challenge it, because I know a lot of friends with a lot of money, as I'm sure a lot of you do, and a lot of them are just not happy people. They don't seem to have a really full life. So they've got all the toys, they've got all the big house and everything, and sure, they can go on holiday, but there's a lot of stresses around sort of family issues, partnership issues, children, friendships, and so forth. So I kind of feel like these days the reference to an holistic entrepreneur is more about getting all your life right together, not just your business, but every area that encompasses your life. So that way we would deem success to be a sort of an all-encompassing thing. So I'm going to share my screen, and we're just going to go through, where are we here? Just going to go through some basic slides. So can someone please tell me if they can see that? Denise, can you see that? Okay. So the holistic entrepreneur, and I call this actually sort of a life essentials thing to understand. And on the top right there, we have, I would deem as, I looked up for quite a while, what was the main traits of a holistic entrepreneur, and there was quite a lot, but the three big ones that I came across was resilience. And I just want you to understand, I don't want to mean resilience as in you've got to work your BUTT off. This is another area where we're starting to see, with the likes of technology and so forth, and the likes of a more community-based, especially through the likes of, say, network marketing, more community-based area, as opposed to just going at it alone, going at it super hard, putting up with anything and everything, and these kind of terms are now starting to be challenged, right? Because we definitely see a much more community-focused business landscape. So confidence was a key one, because not everything's perfect in life. You're always going to be challenged in some areas, but we're all more than aware that challenges are something that we can actually utilize to empower us. So, and innovation, not just innovation in terms of products, okay, but actually how do we start to innovate our own lives? How do we sort of navigate into challenges? Because life at the moment, it's 100 miles an hour, right? We can see everything around us changing at a great rate of knots. So bear that in mind. So resilient, confidence, innovation were the three top areas that most holistic entrepreneurs have. So we want to do the overview. The definition of entrepreneur is changing. Okay, so like I said before, I'm definitely seeing that challenge now. And we've all probably heard of the term holistic entrepreneur. And I mean, what is that generally? So it's definitely becoming more evident that we see that the roadmap of success is creating a powerful synergy within oneself that manifests out into every aspect of life. And I wrote that myself when I started to sort of look as how can we sort of. I felt like this could be put into sort of one paragraph. Okay, obviously, there's a lot of areas to our lives, right? And this is the thing about being a holistic entrepreneur, is that there are so many areas to feel like you have to navigate. Okay, it's not just all about business and money, but the areas, all the other areas that come into our lives, which we will cover. So we must gain an understanding of the art of balancing. Okay, so every component of family, spiritual, religious beliefs, business, mental, and physical well-being, and so forth. So the old model of the entrepreneur and the definition of success is over. And I think this is where I've got a lot of friends in traditional business, and they're seeing such changes out there in the way they have to do business. There's more sort of collaborative efforts going on, and especially with the likes of network marketing, some of the power I feel and the potential is in the ability to collaborate with like-minded people. So we kind of have the right model. What we want to feel like we can do as a entrepreneur or holistic entrepreneur ourselves is start to really look into how success should be redefined. So the key elements we want to look at is, I would say, are you whole, right? So vision and purpose is something that we have spoken about, and you hear over and over and over. Okay, it doesn't matter being an entrepreneur. It doesn't matter if you're a mother, father, or husband or wife. What is the vision or purpose in your life? Okay, and this isn't just about business, right? So being holistic is where do I have vision and purpose in all areas of my life? Okay, so it's all great to have success in business and money and so forth, but do I have vision and purpose for where I want my family to go, how I impact, say, my friends and community and so forth? So vision and purpose is real key. So um, if you don't have a vision board, to keep your goals in focus, please do it. And you hear this quite often. I mean, a lot of these things aren't new. I feel and a lot of you will know it. Okay, I think the challenge is are we putting it into practice on a daily basis? Okay, and that takes effort. It definitely takes effort because it's just, again, not always just about thinking in one particular aspect of your life, but trying to put it all together as a whole is work, right? But we want to be able to feel like we enjoy that work. So self-discovery is a big one. So reflecting on your strengths, passions, values, and areas for growth. Okay, we want to build a business that aligns with your authentic self and making work feel like a passion rather than a chore. Because I certainly know I've been in some businesses, traditional business, that just to put it lightly, it sucked. It was hard, uh, wasn't enjoyable at all, and this is kind of that area where you feel like just because it's you're busting away doesn't mean you're going to be successful. Just because you feel like you're going to outlast somebody does not mean you're going to be successful. That's the old paradigm. We feel like now it's moving into more being sort of smarter about the way that we do life and business. I call this create a holistic life and business plan. We always hear about business plan. We always hear about, apply a budget to things at home and so forth. But putting it all together is, so we develop a comprehensive plan that considers not only financial aspects, but also your entire well-being, especially things like if you've got areas where you want to impact your community and where you can really influence and change positively. So not just yourself, but those around you as well. But so again, more key elements. This one came out quite a lot, is a personal brand, right? I mean, I think we're now in the era of creating our own personal brand, and I know network marketing fits into this area really, really well. Had a meeting today for a couple of 3 hours with my cousin about sort of these new things that are coming out because he's in the IT industry, and all these things that are coming out in relation to getting away from uh, big companies that have big marketing budgets and so forth, and now they're actually putting that more towards uh, getting, say, people like us to create content for them because they
Mhm,
feel that's a more personal approach. So that fits really well into a personal brand. So building a personal brand reflects obviously your values and you want that to resonate with as many people that you come into contact with. So this is not about creating. I mean, you might want to create your own logo, but it's not. You don't have to do that. I mean, your brand is who you are and how you carry yourself, right? And please consider that some people may love to align with your personal brand. You might have some um, things about where you want to take your life and how you want to take that, and where you'd like to say take your business, what you stand for, and people align with that. And again, this is where network marketing is really powerful because I mean, you won't. Not everybody might align with, say, your goals and dreams and values and so forth, and that's fine because we're all very different people. But there's certainly a lot of people that you'll find that you do align with. So, and that's a brand in itself, right? It's not just your personal brand, but obviously we've created the things like with Beta Wellness Global and so forth. But a personal brand, I think, really does sort of hold you in good stead when it comes to how you present yourself. Obviously, holistically as well is the mind, body, spirit connection, or whatever your spiritual, religious beliefs are, and nurturing your holistic well-being is essential in those areas. I mean, all these things are kind of really non-negotiables, right? Because being holistic doesn't mean that you can just negate a particular area of your life. You can't just go off, I feel, and just create tons of money, have lots of toys. There may be a lot of friends. Generally, in those in those areas, I've seen a lot of hangers on, as when it comes to people with money. So, are they really kind of real friends, and so forth? And but if your health is not great because you are working yourself to you're pulling big hours and so forth, and you've got a massive company. Um, again, that's not sort of really nurturing yourself holistically, um, in business, in life, in your spirit and your body and so forth. So, and I said there, a big part of being whole is to leave no stone unturned. And this is where I would say, please treat this as a kind of adventure, really, to sort of start to maybe look into areas of your life where you feel like maybe you've just kind of let it go. Maybe you put more priority into other areas, right? And I think what we're really starting to understand, and not just from a business perspective, but as a life perspective, is that we really want to feel like we do enjoy every aspect of our lives, and that's not to say without challenge again, but we use those challenges to sort of fuel us. So, community and network, again, wonderful in the area of network marketing. So creating a supportive network of like-minded individuals. I mean, you couldn't really get much more than that, better than that in this kind of industry, right? To collaborate, learn, and grow together. And we do have a wonderful Vita Wellness Global team and a Vitafy family. I mean, I know Denise can attest that we met some really lovely people on the cruise, and it is like you're trying to create a bit of a family environment. You're not really here in competition, and this is a real difference, right, from standard traditional business, where sure you can have networking groups, which I've seen a lot of, and I've gone to. You have these sort of groups where you have other entrepreneurial people, but generally, most of the talk will be just around business, and contacts, right? And this is, I think, a bit beyond that because this is about like-minded individuals, about where we're going, how you want to get there, and so forth. So, community and network is definitely somewhere where it's really starting, excuse me, to change. So, other key elements is marketing and promotion. Now, I don't want you to take this as like a traditional business sense. Like, when you think about, oh, you have a big marketing team with a budget, and they're looking to sort of really push ads and so on and so forth, or billboards promoting things out in this sort of traditional space, right? But effectively, marketing your holistic business is using authentic and aligned strategies. Okay, so said there, remember, you're not offering a network marketing opportunity just solely. Okay, if you show people that you have the resources, the know-how, say support, great upline, and you're unwavering as a holistic entrepreneur, do you think people would feel more aligned and ready to join you if you encompassed all that, right? Not just I'm offering some great drops and a potential money making opportunity. I think people are sort of feeling like, can't speak for everybody clearly, that they want more to align to. Okay, so when I went back about your personal brand, if I go back to that really briefly, is people will join you, not just a product, right? They'll join you. They'll want to know why. They want to see if they can actually do align to what you're offering. Okay, so it isn't just about a product or a business. It's who you are, and people are looking more for that, right? They've already done. Most people our age and us that are older have already done um, a lot of that kind of stuff, right? They're looking to sort of feel like, can they align to much more. Oops, sorry. Yeah, okay, I'm on the right page. Okay, so exceptional customer service. Okay, so I know a lot of us here do have customers. We do want to, excuse me, ensure their satisfaction and their loyalty, because obviously you look after your customers and they're going to stay with you. And again, in this network marketing space, we have that opportunity, and we, with the customer part of the Beta Wellness web page, you see this wonderful area to be able to really look after your customers. Where do you see that? Like traditionally, where do you see that? I've got their companies will do offer shelves full of products and options, right? But they don't really service you afterward, right? And this is again in line where things are heading into the likes of as we've said before about the gig economy and so forth, and where the marketplace and the customer trends are going to start to go into. Okay, so obviously we've created that area of the Beta Wellness global site around the customers so that you can really look after them, right? And this is all part and parcel of being an entrepreneur, right? Because for us, we don't kind of have, I would say, your standard 9 to 5 hours and so forth. So generally, when people will ask you a question, you can get back to them at, I wouldn't say ungodly hours, but you can get back to them a bit later than most companies would. Other areas there is adaptability. Holistic entrepreneurs must be adaptable. And I would go further and say people have to be adaptable these days, because we do live in a highly dynamic world. Economic conditions are changing rapidly. Okay, and a lot of things are beyond our control. If I jump, say, 5 years, and they're saying, oh, we want to take cash away from everybody and we're just going to do digital, we don't probably have a lot of a say in that, right? So if it's going to go in that way, how do we start to adapt ourselves? Okay, so entrepreneurs must be sort of flexible, nimble, very self-aware, and the ability to sort of adapt quickly to things that change around us, right? Things that are out of our control. But one thing that I do feel that can be in our control is the ability to adapt to where the changes go. If you want to dig your heels in, right, to how old systems operate and so on and so forth, because you don't want it to change, you're going to get left behind. And I feel this is, sort of a key element of being a holistic entrepreneur or moving into that space, right? Is that we really are in a position to be able to move where some of these changes are going. So please be adaptable. So I want to cover here some like practical tips. So in essence, sort of creating balance. Okay. So now, I probably should have said this in the at the start. You know, what I'm covering here is not everything, right? They're just um, they're just sort of starting a process for you to feel like you understand. Uh, okay, what does a holistic entrepreneur mean? If you haven't heard about it, what would it entail to be that, right? Um, because I would say generally most people in this type of business um, um, either have been in traditional business and have either sold up or have had to exit it. Um, but this offers an opportunity to be able to get back into a business, but without obviously that massive outlay that we always talk about. So a lot of these areas that I'm sort of bringing up are really more for, in essence, sort of for your observation and consideration, right? You don't have to, um, you don't have to feel like, oh, what Sergio's saying is gospel, if you will. It's not by any stretch of the imagination. And there's lots that can be added to this, which I will do it at a later stage. So in terms of as I go through some of these tips, it's not all of them. Okay, there's just some things in order for you to consider. So the first one is to say set clear boundaries. Okay, so you know, we can say define specific work hours and stick to them, right? Like if it depends. I mean, you got to run this the way you want to run it as you're your own entrepreneur. Okay, if you feel like, you know, I can only put 2 or 3 hours or 1 hour a night and I can only do it between a set amount of time, then do it. Be specific about it. For some, avoid working really late at night or during weekends if you can help it. Create a dedicated sort of space where you can do that, all right, away from your personal life. Because one thing that I had, especially a few years back when I was in a traditional business, is do you think that I would just walk away and not bring it home? And it became a real area of a bit of contention because I couldn't unplug. It was crazy. So that sort of just flooded into, especially it wasn't positive, it was a negative, and that was being brought home, right? So um, set boundaries. There's things that you will just avoid, you have to avoid doing, right? This is part of taking care of yourself. So the next one was to prioritize self-care. Um, Take regular breaks throughout the day. I mean, I know some people here still work. That's fine. I mean, you get breaks, right? We're talking about this as more, um, I would say, a network marketing entrepreneur and a life entrepreneur. So use this time for either meditation or prayer or stretching. Take short walks. Have the opportunity to unplug. Obviously, we want enough sort of restful sleep to recharge your energy, right? Because again, if we're not taking care of that particular area, it's going to be really hard to function, right? Especially when we're talking about all areas of your life. It's not just you can say, well, if I'll just run my business and that's it, and that gets all my time and priority, and I do everything for that, right? And too bad for everything else. That's just not going to work. So, I say batch tasks here. So group similar tasks together. Okay. For example, obviously we have these Zoom meetings and we have particular days that we do that and we have the content and we create it. Um, and all that kind of administrative work, which I know all of us will have at some point. Um, and avoid too much multitasking that has that opportunity to lead you into burnout, right? There, you know, that old stigma about working hard and we wear that like a badge of honor, and that's generally something that has come from previous eras, and I grew up with it, right? Just because you feel like you work hard, you could sort of tell everybody how hard you were working and how many hours you're working and how many days a week you were working, and like what, right? I mean, what outcome did you get with that? Success? Generally not, right? And the beauty of obviously what we have is the ability to have a team and work together, right? To find appropriate solutions for, say, any problem solving. Because life in general, if we look at it, you know, when we say it is about, you hear this in this industry, it's about problem solving, right? You've got teams, it's about problem solving, right? The leaders are the ones that solve it, solve them. CEOs and big companies are paid a lot of money because they solve problems, right? Um, us as holistic entrepreneurs, we have to have that skill set in all areas of our life, right? Because we can't turn off family, or we should not turn off family. The things are required there that need our attention, then you have to do it. Okay. Um, so the next part is choosing wisely, right? With practice mindfulness. Now, this is a term or a word, sorry, that I've heard, obviously, and I'm sure all of you have heard it in the last few years, is, and it's sort of attributed a little bit, if I can use the term, a bit airy fairy, right? Mindfulness, what does that mean? It's all about meditation, and you're sort of sitting in a field and so forth, and you've got nice music and all that kind of carry on. But it's much, much more than that, right? It is about being present in the moment. It's not just, it just shouldn't have a spiritual connotation to it. Obviously, you want to be mindful about how you are thinking when it comes to, say, your work, your family, your friends, how you engage with them. Like, are you taking, like even in my example before about my work, or the business I was in, is if I've been really mindful about where I was at, I wouldn't have brought it home, right? Who wants to share that kind of nonsense with your friends and loved ones? Okay, I mean, it's not really influencing anyone in kind of a positive way. So as I said there, the term mindfulness is not solely attributed to meditating or praying or spiritual pursuits, right? How am I thinking so holistically in all areas of my life, right? Should, be mindful about what you feel like. Maybe I might not say that because it's gonna, cause me issues and so forth. So clearly, it's like a bit of as long as you're awake, um, a practice that you do all day, every day. Being present about where you are with your thoughts. This is a big one here. It says learn to say no. One thing in this type of business is when you start getting big teams, and I know a lot of you here can put your hands up to this. Sometimes we struggle saying it, right? We don't want to disappoint people, but understand your own limits and avoid overcommitting, right? And I think there's a lot of power in the ability to say no. I was actually very bad at this many years ago. Caused me a lot of issues because I always wanted to please everybody. Um, and the only one that ended up feeling the worst was actually me, right? Because you take the load on. So politely decline tasks or requests that don't align with your priorities. Period. Okay. We know this, right? Everyone here is old enough and wise enough to know these kind of things. Um, I like this saying here. It says, saying no allows you to protect your time and energy. That way you can really put that time and energy into things that, that's not to say you don't solve problems, right? But some people, as we all know, they can be very all about, they pose a question and they want the answer straight away. One of the things with this, and I know some of the top leaders have said it, is, you don't, you're under no liberty to have to answer a question straight away. Essentially, you are in business for yourself, right? Obviously, you're not in this business by yourself, but you are an independent entrepreneur, right? So I don't have to, or you don't have to answer or feel obliged to answer someone's text straight away, or you get to it when you need to. And I think that sets a really good protection zone for your time and energy, for where you are mentally and so forth. Because we know it in these types of businesses, right? You can get inundated and inundated and inundated with questions. So learn to say no. The evaluation of your goals I feel, is an organic thing. So regularly assess them for your business and your personal life, right? Are they still aligned with where you're going? Especially if the landscape is changing from a, say, external sense, like, the economy is changing at a great rate, right? Interest rates going up, whatever, right? So things might have to change. Things where you felt like, okay, this goal was sort of relevant maybe 6 months or a year ago. It's actually probably not going to be relevant in another 6 months. So really do, and that's not a a failure, okay? Because I feel some people become quite rigid in where they feel like their goals should be, and anything that sort of maybe pokes at that and it maybe knocks you off that is is treated very negatively, right? But I feel that ability to evaluate, and remember that goes even back to being able to adapt to, right? Your life landscape, your business landscape, your spiritual landscape, your mental landscape, your body landscape, and so forth. Reevaluate it. It's okay. It's part of it. Okay. Um, and before I go into a bit of a question answer, and then maybe get some external wisdom from the people on here, is um, never stop learning. I mean, you never do in life, right? But never stop. So do yourself some justice. Embrace, I call it, embrace a growth mindset. Okay, because life is continually all about growth, right? It's all about sort of in my how I would view it, not just in my say business or my spiritual or my family or my relationship or say with Rebecca or with the kids and so forth. Is this always embracing a growth mindset? So, in order to thrive as a holistic entrepreneur, is to understand that importance of continuous learning and growth in every aspect and area of your life. Okay. If you feel like you can, do we have that opportunity just to shut down a particular area? Yes, we can. But that comes at a cost, right? And holistic is about in my view, is an all encompassing effort. Excuse me. So, holistic entrepreneurs always have a growth mindset. So no matter what comes up, so they always believe in the ability and they have the intelligence that can be developed through dedication and smart work. So I use that term smart work, not hard work. So again, we want to feel like we change that that way of thinking about what succeeding in business is actually about. It's not about, oh yeah, I do 200 hours a week and I deserve success. No, you won't. You probably deserve, probably what you're going to get is worn out and a lot of health issues, right? And a lot of unhappiness. So, challenges and opportunities for growth, right? They don't, I mean, these kind of things they don't just sit in the quadrant of personal development outside of business or personal development in a relationship, right? Because we've always got to grow through those things as well, right? So we're always seeking how do we improve ourselves in every aspect of life, right? Just not just in my business. Right? So I would say this, and I know Rebecca says this a lot, and that's a great term is be the CEO of your own life, right? Not just CEO in essence sitting on a throne and having a big business and having a big network marketing business with thousands of people in it and so forth. Yeah, that's great. But what about the CEO of your relationship? Or be the CEO of how you interact with your children, how you interact with your friends, your community, right? So as much as sometimes people might see this kind of, oh, is that overly daunting? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think we all have that ability to be able to really start to take this way of thinking into all aspects because I've had a lot of, I mean, I'm sure all of you here have had it. I've had lots of coffees with lots of very traditionally well off big business people. And yeah, business is great. But oh man, my relationship's bad. My kids don't talk to me, or I mean, these aren't always, but I've seen this is the general sort of rule of thumb, right? We're always being taught to, get a big education, get a big job, get a bigger house, get status, right? And we would term success as that, right? And I think now most people are going, hey, you know what? No, we don't buy that term as to reference that you can call me successful just because I've got a big house and a nice car and so forth, and I live in a great neighborhood. No way. Success is actually about um, having a growth in all areas, business, family, and so forth, friendships, community. Um, but I want to hear some of your thoughts around this because, again, this is just a sort of introduction into um, being a holistic entrepreneur. And I know I've got a lot of people here that have experience, and I just want to just have a little bit of a all these steps we need to do to be successful. Yep, you're right. Is how have you felt like listening to it? Again, it's not new. It's not mine. It's not mine at all. It's not new. But I certainly feel like the external parts of what I was speaking about before, about where changes, uh, um, and how the external things are changing, how business is changing. Um, uh, Being this holistic entrepreneur as a term is definitely where things are going. So, I'd love to hear any uh, words of wisdom from